It is dawn, July 751. The baking sun begins its climb above the windswept plain near the Talas River, as two armies brace for a confrontation that will echo for centuries. The air is tense, thick with the mingled scents of horses, sweat, and dust. Arrayed across the horizon, like a surge of color and steel, stand the soldiers of the Abbasid Caliphate, banners of deep green rippling in the wind as Arab generals issue their final orders. Facing them, across the broken grassland, the formidable forces of the Tang Dynasty, resplendent in lacquered armor of gold and crimson, drawn largely from distant China and the loyal Central Asian city-states. On the Abbasid side, the general Ziyad ibn Salih surveys his coalition, a motley host of Arab cavalrymen, Persian speakers, and allied Turks, each contingent clustered behind their own standards. He knows his men have marched far from Samarkand and Merv, following the promise of both faith and fortune, determined to halt the Tang expansion into Transoxiana. Across the field, Tang General Gao Xianji rides the front ranks with an unblinking gaze. Born in the far northeast, the son of a Goguryeo general, he has spent his career conquering new lands in the west. For years, the Chinese have pressed westward, building alliances, taking cities, and dazzling local rulers with riches and learning. Now, as the Caliphate seeks to consolidate its control over Central Asia, confrontation is inevitable. At his back, a composite force stretches out. Elite Tang infantry, robed and armored Turk mercenary cavalry, and the loyal Karluk allies, whose banners flutter in the center. The Tang formation is orderly, their discipline evident, having outlasted weeks of rapid marches across harsh terrain. Gao knows his reputation for victory is at stake, as is the fate of his dynasty's hold on the western Silk Roads. As the sun climbs higher, both sides prepare in silence, a moment suspended before the storm. The first skirmishes begin with clouds of arrows, darting between lines, a staccato rhythm of thuds and whinnies. The Arab cavalry surges forward, wheeling in loose, fluid arcs, their archers loosing swarms of arrows at the advancing Chinese. The Tang infantry lock shields, forming a wall of spears and iron, answering the barrage with their own hail of missiles. For 5 days, the battle churns and reels along the riverbank. Dust rises and falls in great veils over the combatants, voices rough with exhaustion and the clang of swords echoing across the plain. Each day, Gao Xianji directs his center, his Turkish auxiliaries forming a flexible bulwark, while his heavily armored Chinese horsemen attempt to outflank the Arab right. Ibn Salih responds with patience, refusing to be drawn out of array. At night, both commanders scan the moonlit field, searching for a moment of weakness, a chance to tip the balance. Trust, or its absence, becomes the fulcrum. Between the armies stands the Karluk contingent, a pivotal force, fierce horse archers who have long played one empire against the other. Their warlord, in secret, begins negotiations with Ibn Salih, sensing the tides of fortune shifting. As dawn breaks on the 6th day, a subtle movement ripples through the Karluk lines. In a sudden, coordinated signal, they turn their weapons not against the Arabs, but on the Tang rear. The betrayal is instant and catastrophic. Gao Xianji's rearguard is thrown into chaos. Horses scream, banners fall. Turkic cavalrymen surge through gaps in the Tang formation, cutting off escape. Gao bellows orders, trying to wheel his infantry around, but confusion reigns. The Abbasid troops press forward, seizing the moment, their swords glinting with opportunity as they drive the Tang back toward the river. For hours, the Tang army tries to rally, their ranks thinning under the onslaught. Many are cut off, surrounded, and slain where they stand. Gao Xinji fights desperately, managing to carve out a narrow corridor along the riverbank, gathering a group of his finest warriors and surviving officers. Under the cover of darkness, and with the Abbasids closing in, he leads a breakout. Most of his army lost, only a fraction escaping across the steppe, battered and forever changed. When sun rises on the blood-stained field, the Abbasids and their allies stand victorious. Corpses litter the banks of the Talas, the detritus of a shattered army mingling with remnants of gear and banners. Yet, amid the carnage, something else has crossed the river. Among the many Tang captives taken to Samarkand are skilled artisans, masters of paper-making, a closely guarded secret of China. In time, their knowledge will diffuse across the Abbasid world, from Samarkand west to Baghdad and beyond. The result is a revolution in learning, trade, and culture, as paper gradually supplants parchment, transforming communication across 3 continents. As silence returns to the Talas Plain, both empires count the cost. The Tang will never again stretch so far, their western ambitions in ruins, their Central Asian holdings soon prey to rebellion. For the Abbasids, the road to eastward expansion remains fraught, but their hold on Transoxiana is cemented. And in the flow of the river, amid the blood and dust, the story of Talas joins the ancient current of history, one battle whose consequences would ripple through the centuries.